Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Arizona.
This D-backs Red Hot June continues. Enjoy D-backs baseball tonight with a cold Amstel X Light. 9-3 this month. These first place D-backs looking to make it 2 in a row over the New York Mets. Spend your Friday night with us enjoying D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening from Chase Field and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly along the way. Game 2 of this 4-game set, the D-backs and the Mets. One thing for sure tonight, you're going to see a whole lot of curveballs. We have a pitching matchup of the two guys who throw more curveballs than any other pitchers in the National League. Bob, we start with Zach Godley.
And Zach Godley, believe it or not, got his curveball to work at Coors Field, a rarity for anybody that relies on a breaking ball. Went 5 2/3 against the Rockies in an 8-3 win. Gave up only 5 hits and 2 runs in that game. Punched out 8 Rockies.
Yeah, a lot about Zach not falling off the side of the mound anymore. Throwing that curveball for strikes more often seemed to work last week.
Get it on line a little bit more. Don't pull it over there in that left-handed batter's box.
Well, for the Mets, it's Seth Lugo, and he throws his curveball more than any other pitch.
It's a good one, too. His last game start was only number 2 of the season for Seth Lugo. He's been pitching out of the bullpen. That was a 2-0 win over the Yankees. He was really good, too. 6 innings of 2-hit shutout baseball.
Well, get ready for some curveballs. The D-backs and the Mets on a Friday night in Phoenix.
D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. By BJ's Restaurant and Brewhouse. Visit bjsrestaurants.com to find a location near you. By Tire Pros of Arizona. Everything rotates around you. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money.
This season, D-backs home runs score free Jumbo Jacks only at Jack in the Box. by Amstel X Light. Grab the 90 cal 2-car beer with great taste today. By One AZ Credit Union. Let's bank together. And by Gila River Hotels and Casinos. The card by Gila River Casinos earns you rewards 10 times faster than ever before. Sign up for the card today. Well, what a difference a month can make. 8-19 in May, rolling 9-3 in June. The D-backs and the Mets coming up next on Fox Sports Arizona. Bob Brenly and Kate Longworth with you. The D-backs and the Mets, the second of this 4-game series after the Diamondbacks won last night's opener 6-3. These Mets are really reeling. They've lost 11 of their last 12 and 16 of 19. And there goes the bull. As the D-backs take the field, this is the lineup he'll face for New York. It's presented by your Valley Chevy dealers.
Center fielder Michael Conforto will lead it off. Todd Frazier at third base again tonight. Brandon Nimmo out in right field, as Drupal Cabrera will be at second base. Jose Bautista out in left field. Dominic Smith at first base. Kevin Plawecki doing the catching tonight. Ahmed Rosario at shortstop, and Seth Lugo on the mound.
And Zach Godley is your Ram Truck starting pitcher for the D-backs tonight. 6-5. The ERA just a tick under 5. And as we mentioned earlier, Zach pitched well in his previous start, a win in Colorado on Sunday.
Yeah, it was good to see him make an adjustment with that curveball and keep it in the strike zone. As we know, the ball doesn't break as much at Coors Field, so Zach made a nice adjustment and still had a very effective curveball against the Rockies.
E.D. Marshall Jewelers has a look around the diamond at the D-backs defense tonight.
Gerard Dyson and his flaming red shoes will be out in center field tonight. John Jay over in right. David Peralta in left. It'll be Jake Lamb and Nick Ahmed on the left side of the infield. Daniel Descalso and Paul Goldschmidt on the right side. Alex Avila getting a start behind the plate tonight for right-hander Zach Godley.
Chad Fairchild is calling the balls and strikes tonight. He's the plate umpire. Mike Estabrook is at first base. There's the crew chief, Jim Reynolds. He's at second. And Bruce Dreckman is our third base umpire tonight. Time, BB, for your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game.
Well, we've talked about these two starters, and for Zach Godley, my curve is better than yours. We're going to find out tonight. A couple guys that rely heavily on big bending curveballs.
Well, we know about Zach Godley. He's got the sinker, he's got the cutter, but as we talked about, these two guys throw more curveballs than any other pitchers in the league.
Yeah, and in a roundabout way, the cutter is probably the most important pitch for Zach Godley. If he's able to command that around the edges of the plate, it's going to make that curve even more effective.
Mets come into tonight 9 under 500. They're 10.5 back of Atlanta for the NL East lead. D-backs will put the shift on for Michael Conforto. And we're set to go, the D-backs and the Mets, on a Friday night in downtown Phoenix. Glad you're with us on Fox Sports Arizona. Fastball missed. It's 1-0. Conforto hitting .216 now with 8 home runs. He homered and walked last night. Conforto last night led off the 6th inning with a long home run off Matt Cook. Matt got his 5th win of the year in that ball game. There's the cut fastball, and it's 2-1.
But Conforto led off the ball game last night with a little cue shot grounder to the left side of this shifted infield. Jake Lamb made a tremendous play, and Torey Lovullo pointed that out after the ball game. You know, you see the home runs and that draws your attention, and well pitched ball game, but he was really impressed with the Diamondbacks defense last night.
Well, threw the cutter up. Chad Fairchild didn't give him the call, and it's a leadoff walk to Conforto. Brings up Todd Frazier. Frazier batting .221. He's got 7 homers. And now the D-backs will put 3 infielders on the third base side against the right-hand batter. Frazier last night 0 for 4. He hit into a double play. Zach Godley could use a ground ball right now, although that entire right side of the infield is wide open with Goldie holding Conforto on the bag at first. There's the Godley curveball. It's in there for a strike.
I don't believe I've ever seen that before. Todd Frazier showing bunt. It looked like he was going to try to push it to the right side there before taking that pitch for a called strike. I don't think the bunt's a big part of Todd Frazier's offensive arsenal.
Well, considering he's been a home run derby star, it probably shouldn't be.
Ow, ow, ow. Just pounds that one off his front foot. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if there are words to adequately describe how badly that hurts.
I believe all of them.
Oh, man. We ought to be checking exit velocities on foul balls off the ankle. That's what we should be checking.
And bone bruises.
But it stopped hurting now.
Well, we're playing again, so it must have, right?
Sure.
1-2 on Todd Frazier. There's another tapper to third. Jake Lamb, nicely done. Conforto moves up.
Nice play by Jake Lamb. He's been moving really good down there at third base since coming back off the disabled list. Backhanded play, throws all in one motion. Easy out at first base that time.
Well, Brandon Nimmo batted third in the first inning last night. Hit a home run off Matt Cook, his 9th of the year. Hitting .265. Got Conforto at second and 1 out. First pitch curveballs in there for a strike.
That probably won't be the last time you say that tonight.
Have you seen, just in watching some of the video, any difference between the two curveballs, Godley and Lugo?
I think Godley throws his, it's a little more of a direct line out of his hand. We've talked about most curveballs leave the pitcher's hand, and there's a little upward movement before the ball takes the break and comes back down. A little loop, if you will, in the pitch. Godley does not have a loop in his curveball. Comes straight out of his hand looking like a fastball.
Cutter down, and he's ahead of Nimmo 0-2. Nice block by Avila, and Conforto has to stay put. That curveball was spiked in the dirt. Mentioned Godley starts Sunday, the win at Coors Field over the Rockies. He pitched very well, 2 runs, 5 hits, 5 2/3. Struck out 8 in that ball game, and we saw Zach seem to kind of pick his spots with his curveball, not rely on it maybe quite so much. Located his cutter a lot better, had good command with it. And hopefully we'll see the same thing here tonight. That one off the mound. Ahmed is back there, and they're able to retire Nimmo. Nicely done. That one almost got Godley, a curveball right back up the box.
You see where Nick is positioned, right up the middle of the field. Probably got a little bit of an assist. It hit the front slope of the mound and shot straight up in the air a little bit, giving Nick a chance to get in front and retire Nimmo at first base.
So here's Asdrubal Cabrera, 0 for 4 last night. He punched out twice. Tops on the Mets in home runs and RBIs. And again, they'll put the shift on. Cabrera, the switch hitter. Really nice backhand pick by Alex Avila. Saved a run right there.
Look where that pitch is. Wow. Almost a dive to his right to save that one from going to the backstop. Saved a run right there.
He's been doing it that way for a long time. You know that those two guys appreciated that.
Yeah, better him than me.
I think that's what Mathis is laughing about right now. 1-0 on Cabrera. There was a curveball in there for a strike. The Mets, since the end of May, as a team, are 3 for 49 with runners in scoring position. Mickey Callaway's ball club, they just cannot score runs right now. They're going through in June what the D-backs offense went through in May. Every run is a struggle. Fastball misses away. Cabrera's ahead, 2 balls and 1 strike. Conforto down there at third with 2 outs after a leadoff walk. Another curveball, 2-2. Jose Bautista, a longtime Toronto Blue Jay, now in New York, would be next.
Asdrubal Cabrera should probably buy Jose Bautista dinner at some point on this road trip, because he saved him an ejection in the ball game last night. Remember, Cabrera had a couple of borderline pitches called against him. He popped out and was barking at the home plate umpire Bruce Dreckman. Jose Bautista ran up from the on deck circle and kind of got between the two of them and diffused the situation. Saved him a couple $1,000 probably.
And borderline is being kind.
Yeah.
Godley almost threw that one over the screen. There's Bruce Dreckman, who's at third base tonight. Full count on Cabrera, 3-2.
I'm not sure what the going rate for an ejection is nowadays. I'm going to have to ask Torrey.
He could tell you.
Oh, I'm sure he could. Yeah. He's been there, done that.
Yeah. Waved at a fastball. Godley strands that leadoff walk. D-backs coming up. Appearances this year, but only 2 starts. He was outstanding against the Yankees Sunday. 6 scoreless innings, only 2 hits allowed. He punched out 8.
Through 84 pitches in that ball game. He'd been extended several times in the bullpen, as many as 43 pitches in a relief appearance, so he should be able to go as much as Mickey Callaway will allow him tonight.
Valley Chevy Dealers has the D-backs lineup tonight.
John Jay leading it off out in right field. Paul Goldschmidt moves back up into that 2 spot tonight at first base. Jake Lamb at third. David Peralta out in left field after a 2-homer night last night. Daniel Descalso at second base. Nick Ahmed at shortstop. Alex Avila doing the catching with Gerard Dyson in center and Zach Godley, the right-hander, on the mound.
Here is John Jay. As we mentioned, just like Zach Godley, Seth Lugo likes that curveball better than any other pitch he's got. So look for that here tonight. This is tapped to second base. Cabrera has it. E.D. Marshall Jewelers will look around the diamond at the New York defense.
Jose Bautista will be in left field. Michael Conforto out in center. Brandon Nimmo in right field. Todd Frazier and Ahmed Rosario on the left side of the infield as Drubal Cabrera and Dominic Smith on the right side. Kevin Plawecki doing the catching tonight, and right-hander Seth Lugo out on the mound.
Goldie in the 2-hole tonight. 258, 13 homers. He batted third last night, hit number 13. There's a slider from Lugo, but the breaking pitch that's number 1, as you can see here, that curveball.
Over 31% of the time, and he throws a hard one, 81, sometimes a little higher than that.
Seth Lugo is a 34th round pick by the Mets in the 2011 draft out of Centenary College. That's where Robert Parrish played his college hoops.
Down in Louisiana?
Yeah. He's from Shreveport.
Mm-hmm.
He did make 18 starts for the Mets last year, but up until recently has only worked out of the bullpen this season, just his 3rd start all year.
It's one of the great regrets of my minor league career. I spent parts of 2 seasons playing for the Shreveport Captains when I was with the Giants, but I wasn't a fisherman then.
Wow.
Oh man, I might have never gone to the ballpark.
Did you not fish in Coshocton?
A little bit, you know, but it was baseball to be played. I didn't have time to go fishing.
Goldie hits one high in the air. Deep right field. Gone. 1-0 D-backs. He's done it again.
Blast to the opposite field, just a middle of the plate fastball, and Goldie barreled it out there to right field. That ball got way out of here. And with that home run and runs scored, Goldie has now scored 16 runs in the month of June. The Mets as a unit have scored 17.
Wow. That's a big time jumbo jack. Free jumbo jack tomorrow at Jack in the Box with a purchase of a large drink. Goldie's second game in a row with a homer. Here's Jake Lamb, who homered last night. Jake at his 5th of the year in that 8th inning. There's the Lugo curveball.
Now, Lugo's curve doesn't have as much of a hump in it as I remember. He throws his pretty hard too. We've seen some as high as 83 miles an hour already here in the first inning.
Trying a curveball again, missed with that one. Jake is homered now in 3 of his last 6 games. He's starting to heat up. Here's a look at the Mets defense against him.
Infield to pull, outfield to go the other way. Conforto shading over toward the gap in left center.
Well, Nick has gotten really, or Jake I should say, has gotten really good at laying off those fastballs inside. He'll take a cut at a breaking pitch in there, but if it's a fastball, he's more often than not going to lay off these days. That one was in there for a strike, and now it's 2-2. He's looking fastball middle away. Couldn't hold up on that one down, and Lugo gets his first strikeout. David Peralta, we talk about a home run parade. The freight train is on one right now. 7 home runs this month. The most he'd ever had in 1 month was 5. He has found the home run swing.
We got half a month left to go. Well, David's just been consistently hitting the ball hard almost all season long, and lately he's been getting some elevation on some of those hard hit balls.
He and Goldie now tied for the team lead with 14 homers. Peralta and Daniel Descalso tied for the D-backs RBI lead. Changeup is just below the knees, but he gets the call, and it's 1-1. That was just the 4th home run given up all year by Seth Lugo. The Goldie solo shot with 1 out here in the first. Took a cut at a fastball, and it's 1-2. David last night had his 2nd multi-home run game this year. So he's got 3 homers in his last 2 games. And as we mentioned, 7 this month. Well, Lugo, for a guy that features that sharp curveball, you think, okay, that's all he's got. He can hit, as we just saw, upper 90s with that fastball. Descalso hoping to get a chance. Here's the 2-2. There's the curveball away, and it's full. There's Robbie Ray, who made a start at Visalia last night. He's got another one coming up in about 5 days or so. A look from Moscam here at Chase Field. Changeup missed inside. There's a 2-out walk. Here comes Descalso. Descalso in at second base tonight. .271. He's got 7 homers.
Daniel singled as a pinch hitter last night. He's hit safely in 4 straight. Ketel Marte getting the night off. Just a routine rest day. Fastball's a strike. Torrey continues to rotate. Descalso, Marte, and Nick Ahmed, 3 guys through the 2 middle infield spots, shortstop and second base.
And earlier this season, Chris Owings was included in that mix in the infield, but CO's seen most of his time in the outfield recently.
He's looked terrific out there too. Made a couple of great catches in center lately.
Torrey was very complimentary of the defense that he saw from CO out in center field last night. Ran down a couple of real tough plays, one in right center, one in left center, almost to the wall. Watch Daniel's mouth. Timeout, 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 timeout. Don't take your hands off the bat, though. As we say all the time, the hitter can request timeout. The umpire has to grant it.
That's a base hit for Descalso. Freight train digs for third, and he's in there.
It's a curveball. Out over the plate and down. That's nice hitting right there by Daniel Descalso. Kind of lengthened his swing, bent his knees a little bit to make sure he barreled that ball up into center field, chasing David Peralta all the way around to third.
Well, a chance now for Nick Ahmed. They're on the corners with 2 down. A run in on the Goldie homer. Nick at 221. He's got 9 home runs. He walked twice last night, once with the bases loaded to bring in a run. Nick's had some really good at bats this month. We've seen the occasional slider from Lugo. We've seen that fastball, change up here and there. We haven't seen a whole lot of his curveball. Trying to mix things up a bit, perhaps.
Well, the few he's thrown, it looks like he just hasn't had a real good feel for it in the early part of the ball game. But you know he's going to keep going back to it until he finds the feel or gets hooked.
That was the slider that got away from him. It's a ball and a strike on Ahmed. Lugo has the straight 4-seamer up, the sinking 2-seamer down. Throws them both pretty hard, as we've seen. And his fastball's got some hop to it. It's got good late movement. Like that right there.
That's what Ron Darling was telling us before the ball game. Lugo widely noted for that big curveball, but he said he's a complete pitcher. He's got all the weapons necessary. We've seen the slider. We've seen the mid-90s fastball. Occasional changeup. There's Ron Darling.
Working SNY Mets TV just to our left here, Gary Cohn. In fact, we have an SNY themed this date in baseball history that you and your staff have lined up.
We do.
Get to that later on tonight. That's out of play. Yeah, the curveball all the time. Kind of a new thing for Lugo. He's changed things up a bit. He's throwing his curve this year actually twice as often as he did last season when he had 18 starts.
I think Lance McCullers of the Houston Astros in the postseason last year kind of opened that possibility for other pitchers who feature the curveball.
It sure worked for him.
Did he throw like 26 in a row one time?
Might have all been for strikes. Well, Nick waves at that curve down in the dirt. And that'll take care of the first inning. But Goldie does it again. His second home run in as many games, his 14th of the year, makes it 1-0 D-backs.
that offense, they also had some strong defense, which really we've seen from this team all season long, and that is by design. Tori explained that when the team lost an offensive force this offseason, they started to kind of build the opposite way, meaning they were going to go out there and try to save runs just as much as they were going to try to score runs. And they have done just that. Tori believes so much in his team's defense that he said if a play is not made on a given night, he doesn't think it was possible to be made. He has that much confidence in his team, and he said they've really raised the level of expectation on defense, and the players have responded. And because they're so engaged on defense, it gives the pitcher confidence to attack the zone, and that's what he wants to see from Zach tonight, knowing that his team will back him up with the glove.
That's right, Kate. Run prevention versus run production, they're both equally important. Here's Jose Bautista to lead off the Mets second. Every time Nick Ahmed makes a great play at shortstop, we were just talking about Chris Owings running down all those balls in center field. That's saving runs as important as scoring them.
And the most obvious one is the guys behind the plate. All three of the Diamondbacks catchers this year blocking pitches in the dirt with runners in scoring position or runners at third base. Clearly saving runs there.
And run prevention also bleeds over into pitching, into catching defense, pitch framing, everything they emphasize with the catching position as well. Zach Greinke. Mets will miss him in this series, just like the D-backs will miss Jacob deGrom. 2-2 on Joey Bats. He was 0 for 4 last night. He struck out 3 times.
Whoa.
The cutter got away from Godley.
Sevilla was pointing at Batista as he made his way down to first base. I didn't know, maybe he was trying to convince Chad Fairchild behind the plate that that was a foul tip.
Yeah, they're going to bring him back, I think. It's even with that pitch, which clearly did not hit him, it's now a full count 3-2. Yeah,
nice
busted. It was a good act.
Well, while we're waiting for Batista to get back in the batter's box, we got a moment to wish happy birthday to Barbara Lorenzen up in Kingman, Arizona. Now, it says on the card she never misses a game, and never is underlined several times. So, Barbara, I know you're out there watching tonight. Happy birthday. And we're not going to say how old Barbara is. She's celebrating her diamond anniversary. Let's just put it that way.
Young at heart. Well, thanks, Barbara, for being such a great D-backs fan. Here's the 3-2 to Bautista. Curveball missed in. Second walk issued by Godley. You know, Bob, in that first inning, Zach was kind of spraying the ball all over the place. He spiked some breaking balls in the dirt. Couple of fastballs almost went to the backstop. He's a little erratic so far.
Yeah, and hopefully he'll settle in. We've seen Zach do this from time to time, where he really sprays it around early, pitches himself into trouble, and then finds a way to wiggle out of it. You hope it doesn't last too much longer.
I lit off the first with a walk. Same thing in the second now. Here's the first baseman, Dominic Smith. Just up for the minor leagues, 2 for 9 this year. Zach so far has thrown more balls than strikes. Smith had a single last night. He was 1 for 3. Mets just released the veteran Adrian Gonzalez less than a week ago, and Smith was brought up from the minors to get some at bats. Lifts one the other way, pretty deep left field. Peralta turns around. He'll play it off the wall. David lost sight of the ball. Glenn Sherlock stops Bautista at third. It's a double for Dominic Smith. David got all turned around out there.
Kind of a slicing drive out there to left field. A lot of backspin, a lot of side spin. David gets all turned around, collapses to the ground out there as he gets to the wall. Yeah, that's where that ball starts slicing. He's hoping he can make that adjustment quickly enough to get back to the wall and make the play, but comes up just a little short that time.
Well, we were just talking about run prevention, and those things, when you don't deliver, now you got second and third, nobody out. So Godley in trouble here. The catcher is Kevin Plawecki.
Yeah, you definitely want to nip this rally in the bud. There's not a lot of Mets fans here tonight, but the ones that are here are loud.
New Yorkers aren't loud. Come on. Where are you getting that from? Well, Godley, because of the leadoff walks, has been pitching from the stretch virtually the entire night so far, and that might be affecting his command or his rhythm out there.
I mean, when starting pitchers warm up before the ball game, they work out of the windup until they're good and loose. They mix in all their pitches, and then they usually throw a dozen or more pitches out of the stretch, just so it's not strange when they get out there on the game mound the first time a runner gets on.
Behind on Plawecki, 2-0. Lamb at third. Bautista going to stay put. And they get the first out. That's a big help. Here comes D-back killer Ahmed Rosario. What's the deal with this guy?
Go figure.
He's got 4 homers this year, 3 of them against the D-backs.
A solo blast against Clay Buchholz. Another shot against Jorge De La Rosa at Citi Field earlier this season.
And this was Rosario.
It's Archie Bradley last night, I believe.
Yeah, to lead off the 8th inning. So here he is. Got the pitcher behind him. If you can get Rosario here, you might survive this. Boy, that's another one that almost went back there. Avila's already earned his paycheck tonight. We're only in the 2nd inning.
That's 3 balls in the dirt that he stopped with a runner at third base already through the first inning and a third of this ball game.
He's making some big league plays back there. It's kind of like buckshot right now from Zach Godley. Trying to find the feel. Good curveball right there. 1-1. Zach, we've seen him repeatedly fall, sometimes almost violently off the side of the mound in his delivery, and that had been hurting his ability to locate pitches. They made some steps forward in that regard Sunday at Coors Field. Center field, Dyson. Bautista's at third. Here he comes. And they got him! Gerard Dyson. Well, how's that for run prevention? Bautista's thrown out at home. It stays 1-0 D-backs.
slows down a little bit, so he's still moving forward as he catches the ball. That's always a key for the outfielder. It gives him a good shot at home plate. Airs it out all the way to Alex Avila, and you can't really blame the Mets for sending the runner right there. They've had so much trouble scoring runs. You got to put it on the defense and force them to make a play, and Dyson and Avila did so.
D-backs now second in the National League in outfield double plays. That's their fourth this year. And here's that 8-2 combo. Avila will lead off the inning. Dyson on deck. Mets put 3 defenders on the right side of the infield against Alex.
Outfield double plays a little more unusual than infield ground ball double plays, but the Diamondbacks are third in all of baseball in ground ball double plays induced. Giants paced away with 64 this season. The Angels have 61. The Diamondbacks right behind with 60. Zach Godley's induced 8 double plays.
Lugo ahead of Avila in 2. D-backs lead it 1-0 on Goldie's solo homer in the first, his 14th of the year after he homered here last night. Boy, neither one of these starters has looked particularly sharp so far.
When they've missed, both guys, they're what I call non-competitive pitches. They're so far out of the strike zone, the hitter doesn't even think about swinging at them.
Changeup misses low, and Avila's worked it full 3-2. That one caught Plawecki back there.
Don't be the foot. Oh, inside of the right foot. That's better than the toe.
Well, Plawecki's had a tough year. Only 2 weeks into the season, he was hit by a pitch and broke his left hand. He missed nearly 40 games. Didn't come back until the very end of last month. Once a Mets first-round pick out of Purdue. Don't see a whole lot of Big Ten players in the majors.
That's because all the really good players in the Midwest played in the Mid-America Conference.
Kind of goes without saying. Fastball gets his 3rd strikeout.
Guys spraying it all over the place the entire at bat, and puts one right out there on the outside corner for strike 3.
Here's Gerard Dyson, had the night off last night. Now that John Jay is here, he'll be essentially the everyday right fielder. Center field is a Owings Dyson platoon. So Dyson, the left-hand batter, in there tonight against the right-hand throwing Lugo. So Chris Owings start in center against the lefty Vargas last night. Elsewhere around the National League West tonight, the Rockies are at Texas, where they lead the Rangers 7-5. Giants are at the Dodgers. They're just underway in LA. 2-2 on Dyson. Padres leading 9-3 in Atlanta. They're ahead of the Braves. 9th inning there. Pitcher Zach Godley on deck. 2-2 on Dyson. Curveball caught just enough, and that's 3 consecutive strikeouts. 4 for the ball game for Seth Lugo.
Looks like he's starting to find a better feel on that curveball. Dropped that one right in there on the outside corner to Gerard Dyson.
Here's the pitcher Godley. Zach has a couple of hits and an RBI this year. That was the slider that time. You can see the difference in the break between the slider and the curveball. That was the curveball. Kind of floats that up there. Zach just does get a piece. Same 2 pitches that Zach Greinke throws, although Greinke's curveballs, as we've seen, sometimes are 65, 66 miles an hour. That one almost hit the moral compass. Mike Farron in the D-backs radio booth. He was ready.
Is that a new shirt he's wearing over there?
Yes, he spilled soup all over himself during the pregame show. I think while he was actually on the air, he was eating soup, and things did not go well. So he came in here looking for a new shirt.
Did you point him toward the team shop?
He gets a discount.
Yeah.
I said, you go down there. Don't come in here stealing our shirts. The host of the ever popular Snake Talk radio program, Mike Farron. Swing and a miss. Lugo strikes out the side. He's punched out 4 in a row, but the D-backs have a 1-0 lead. On Fox tomorrow, Messi in Argentina battle Iceland. That's one of your teams in group play. Yeah, coverage begins 5 a.m. or stream all the action live on the Fox Sports app. I'm sure you were glued to the Portugal-Spain game today. Ronaldo, a hat trick.
Yeah, 3-3, scored them all.
Yeah, okay.
A tie though, that's not good.
I knew you'd be all over it.
I was surprised by Uruguay upsetting Egypt 1-0. I think. Is that an upset?
You would know.
No, apparently not.
It probably wasn't in the paper. Seth Lugo leads off the third. Zach Godley with a 1-0 lead, but it's been a struggle for Zach. He's walked 2 so far, nearly thrown about 5 wild pitches. Alex Avila has earned a gold medal back there, and Zach trying to find some consistency with his command here. Got Godley. Lugo, the pitcher, knocks it into right center.
Well, one thing you just don't expect a pitcher, number one, to hit the ball that hard, but to hit it right back at you. Zach Godley a little bit shocked by that comebacker. Woo, right behind his head.
Yeah, that had some hair on it, that one. Here's Conforto. So once again, the leadoff man is aboard in every Met inning so far. Godley right back into the stretch. Conforto walked to lead off the ball game. There's the curveball. 0-1. Conforto, even with his home run last night, is really slumping. He is 2 for his last 26 up there. Batting just .216 on the year.
A couple of good curveballs to start this sequence.
Well, we mentioned Zach has really struggled with his control tonight. Almost hit Bautista. Got Conforto that time.
Fastball up and in is not a bad pitch. 0-2. You just don't want it that far inside where you clip the hitter, send him down to first base when you had him in a deep hole.
He's walked 2 and hit a batter. 2 on, nobody out in the third. Here's Todd Frazier, who grounded out his first time up. Lugo, the pitcher, is at second. Conforto at first. Well, Frazier hit into a double play last night. Let's see if he can do it again here. There's Godley falling off the side of the mound. That's as violent as we've seen it so far tonight. And that has been a recurring theme all year. They're trying to get him to sort of go more toward the plate instead of running away from the pitch, as he seemed to right there. Another good curveball. Sometimes Zach has been getting to the point where he's literally running away from the pitch as opposed to just sort of stepping off the mound after he's executed the pitch, and Mike Butcher has worked with him on that a whole lot lately.
And there's a real fine line. We were talking up here in the booth before the ball game. Bob Gibson used to fall off the mound hard to the first base side, but it was always after he delivered the pitch.
There it is again. He sort of falls off the side like that. He calls it running away from the pitch. And it really has affected his control. That's by Lamb and down the line. This will get Lugo home. Peralta picks it up. They'll stop Conforto, and we're tied at 1.
Frazier takes that down and in fastball, puts it right down the third baseline. Lugo will score easily as that ball gets all the way down into the left field corner. Still 2 in scoring position here for the Mets with nobody out.
And the batter is Brandon Nimmo. He grounded out to shortstop his first time tonight. off a cutter at 0-1. Nimmo this year a .211 hitter with runners in scoring position. Ahmed, the shortstop, is almost directly behind the second base bag. There's a whole lot of room on the left side of the infield.
Yeah, Zach has thrown 26 fastballs, either sinkers or cutters so far in the game, only 12 for strikes.
Good curveball there. Nimmo couldn't check, and Godley's ahead 0-2.
Yeah, not unusual. He almost always commands the curveball better than the fastball. 17 curves, 12 of those for strikes.
Went back to the curve that time. Conforto at third, Frazier at second, still nobody out. A run is in. Oh, that was right there. Didn't get the call from Chad Fairchild.
And that's another byproduct of spraying the ball around, not having great command. When you do throw a borderline pitch, chances are you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt.
There's Drupal Cabrera, the cleanup man, on deck. Swing and a miss. Another curveball. Zach really leaned on the curve that time. He gets the first out here in the third. Cabrera struck out to end the Met first. This guy is really in a deep, dark pit of despair right now. 4 for 39 in June as Drupal Cabrera.
Now the Mets 1 for 6 so far tonight with runners in scoring position. Last night they did not have a plate appearance with a runner in scoring position.
Really?
Solo homers.
Yeah, you're right. The Mets 3 runs on only 4 hits. Solo homers by Nimmo, Rosario, and Conforto. So watch out for the guys whose name ends in O, I guess. There's one of them right there. On base again. Lugo scored the run. Boy, he's really starting to go back to that crutch, the curveball. Zach 50 pitches, only 27 for strikes. There's a changeup that time. Well, he struck out Nimmo. Now he's ahead of Cabrera, 1-2. Got him. Another curve. 2 down.
Starting to command it a little better. That curve starting right in the middle of the strike zone. By the time Cabrera was able to swing at it, it was down in the dirt.
Well, he walked Jose Bautista, almost hit him to lead off the second inning. Here's Bautista now in the third. Runners at second and third, 2 outs. Bautista, 20 games with the Mets. He's hit .225 in New York. Started the year with the Braves. They let him go last month. Another cutter that went in for a strike, and it's 1-1.
You can see Todd Frazier in the bottom of your picture there taking his lead off second base. He gets as big a secondary lead out there as fast guys do. I mean, Daniel's not really keeping him very close to the bag out there at second. Frazier gets his primary lead, peeks in at the catcher signs, and then just keeps walking toward third. On that last pitch, he was almost halfway to third base when the ball got in the hitting zone.
All cutters so far to Bautista.
That's an example of a guy that is not a base stealer. He's not a burner, but he's a good base runner. He knows how to get that secondary lead, knows how to cut the corners.
There's a big difference between the two, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. You can have the fastest guy in the world, but if he doesn't know how to get a jump, you're going to throw him out all the time. Ooh, good pitch.
Buckled him with a curveball, and it's 2-2. He's a strike away from limiting the damage and stranding 2 in scoring position. Dominic Smith would be next. Lugo singled. He hit Conforto. Frazier doubled home a run. Struck out Nimmo. Struck out Cabrera. Now 2-2 on Jose Bautista. Went back to the cutter, falling off the side of the mound again. And it's full 3-2. This would be the spot where he's almost always gone to the curveball.
Almost always. Does have a base open. He can afford to throw a curveball right here. If he misses, it loads the bases certainly, and you're in a little bit deeper trouble. But that's been his most consistent strike pitch so far in the game, is that curve.
Maybe Alex has a different plan in mind that he's trying to sell him on it. That breaks up the meeting. So here we go on 3-2. Curveball after all, got a piece of it to stay alive. He has labored from the get-go here tonight. Leadoff man has been aboard in every inning. Called strike 3. Chad Fairchild rings him up. Godley 3 consecutive strikeouts to keep it a 1-1 game. Run given up, so we're tied bottom third. Tonight we are participating in the home run challenge. Every home run in this game raises money for prostate cancer research. And since June 1st, $1.8 million has been raised in the challenge. You can make a pledge by going to homerunchallenge.org. John Jay leads us off, and as always, we're joined by Michael Milken from the Prostate Cancer Foundation. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
See you,
Bob,
Michael.
great to see you.
This has become an annual visit for you.
It is. Every year they play the ballpark. We've been here.
And your message is what?
Message is medical research has changed the game for prostate cancer. The idea was keep that in the game. And today there's 4 million men who have prostate cancer.
John Jay aboard to lead off the D-back third.
Who are living normal lives. And so this home run challenge, it all started with come out to the ballpark, remind your dad, your friend to get that simple blood test. When you're going to get your cholesterol, get checked for prostate cancer. And early detection, coupled with 8 new drugs, has dramatically driven the death rate from prostate cancer down by more than 50% since we started.
Wow, yeah, I see 52% over the last 20 years.
It's Major League Baseball awareness and medical research.
And here's Goldie, who homered in the first. We're with Michael Milken here.
So he's doing a great job. He's hit the most home runs of anyone since we started this program on June 1st.
Yeah, I was going to say that the June he's having, we're going to raise all kinds of money here.
Well, that's true. He would hit the all-time home run record if he just continues doing what he's done in the first part of June. 7 home runs. We really appreciate it. We've raised a lot of money for cancer research.
Now, at some point over the course of this month, I believe you go to almost every major league park. Is that correct?
Right. We've finished. We've seen 20 teams play already.
Wow.
So we just have a few ballparks left to go, and we'll have completed it.
What's next on the itinerary? Where do you go after Arizona?
St. Louis. You know, we go to see the Fox team on National. You know, not as strong as this Arizona team, Bob, but
well, who is really?
St. Louis. You know, in the previous 18 years, the Diamondbacks are 12-6, so they've done exceedingly well when we come to town. I think Derek Hall suggested we just stay here permanently.
That sounds like Derek.
0-2 on Goldie. Whoa. A fastball up and in.
But Derek, as you know, has also really helped the awareness in prostate cancer, medical research, and One of the major developments that's occurred over the last 20 years, and you and T-Gen here have one of the great centers, is we now can sequence your genome and sequence your cancer.
Base hit for Goldie. That one dunks into right center. Jay heads for third. They're on the corners with nobody out to start the D-back third.
So the ability to sequence your cancer has allowed us to now know that there is 27 to 28 types of prostate cancer.
Wow.
So now we can treat you for the type you have, not just a general prostate cancer.
And that makes the treatment that much more effective?
It does, and for some men who were treated in the past, some of these forms of prostate cancer don't go anywhere. They just stay in your prostate, and you actually don't need any treatment. So that has prevented treatment for a lot of men also, and will continue in the future.
Here's Jake Lamb. Jake struck out his first time up. D-backs trying to take the lead right back from Seth Lugo. Lamb hits it out to Nimmo, who plays it on a hop. Here comes Jay, and it's 2-1 D-backs. 3 straight singles open up the D-back third.
That wasn't exactly squared up. A breaking ball. Jake got it down near the trademark a little bit, but just muscles it out there to shallow right field in front of Brandon Nimmo. D-backs take a 2-1 lead.
Plawecki out to the mound. So when you go to get your physical, you simply go to your physician and say, I'd like a PSA test. What does that involve?
That's a simple blood test, no different than a cholesterol, checking your cholesterol. And it gives you an early indication whether you might have prostate cancer or not. And if you have a high PSA, there's a follow-up. You know, we wish every life-threatening disease had an early warning system. But because we do, it has saved lives. And in America, men diagnosed with prostate cancer have a 99% probability of living 5 years or longer. And unfortunately, if you go to Scandinavia, where they don't do any testing, you may be down to a 50% survival rate.
Smith has it at first. Rosario tries to turn. Lugo gets over there, but Peralta able to beat it out. Goldie at third. They get the force on Lamb.
They sure play well when we're in this ballpark. And to start out the first inning with that home run really gets us charged up. We've raised $50 million now from home runs that have been hit over the years.
Yeah, but nobody's happier to see a home run than you here.
That is true. So that made me really feel good to start the game today. But one of the other interesting things, because you can sequence your cancer and sequence your DNA and your biome for less than $1,000 today, we've discovered the link between breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and prostate cancer, for example. And so if you're a man and someone in your family, a grandmother, a mother, a sister, an aunt has had ovarian or breast cancer, you need to get checked at 40 years old. Likewise,
this is high in the air to center for Conforto, drifting over the left center field. Goldie's at third. Here he comes. 3-1 D-backs.
the stadium looks great tonight. There's a lot of energy in this stadium.
Yeah, it's great. You New Yorkers are here. I got a big weekend, a 4-game set, and a first-place ball club.
Watch Goldie check David Peralta at first base right there. As he's busting it down that third baseline, he knows if David tries to go to second, it gets thrown out, and Goldie is not on the plate. The run doesn't count. So Goldie was sprinting down that line, looking over his left shoulder to see what David Peralta was doing at first base.
David's still down there. 2 outs now. 2 runs are in. Here's Nick Ahmed, who struck out his first time up.
So besides having anyone in your family that's had prostate cancer or ovarian cancer or breast cancer, if anyone in your family's had prostate cancer, or you're an African American man, you need to have that simple blood test by the time you're 40. Otherwise, definitely by 50. And that is one of the reasons that we started this whole program, you know, was just to remind men to get tested.
Well, and as you said, it's It's like getting a regular blood test. It's a very simple procedure.
That's correct. And if you get a high PSA, then you can check it from there. The exciting thing that we're learning also is the role of nutrition. We always felt that what you ate, you know, had a big factor in your own health. And about 70% of all healthcare cost is lifestyle. We have now launched about 3 years ago a clinical trial, started with women with breast cancer, where by changing their microbiome, changing what they eat and drink, after they had surgery, they did not have radiation or chemotherapy.
Wow.
And 2 years ago, we started that with men. And so what we're seeing is by changing your microbiome, you can energize your immune system and potentially put your cancer into suspended animation or remission. And so this idea was around for 20 or 30 years, but until we had this change in ability to sequence, you could never prove what was happening to a person by adjusting their diet.
2-1 on Nick Ahmed. Well, the D-backs have always been at the front of the fight against cancer. You know what Derek has been through with prostate cancer. His wife Amy's done a terrific job. She's doing fabulous after breast cancer. And D-backs have the race against cancer every spring. And this has been front and center here in this organization for a long time. And you've been a big part of that.
That is true. And I think the other thing is, whether it's the Mayo Clinic or TGen, you've had some strong medical research programs right here in Phoenix.
This is way up in the air along the left field line. Rosario Bautista, the left fielder's got it, and that's the end of the inning. D-backs get two. They take a 3-1 lead. Michael Milken, thank you.
Always good to see you, Michael.
HomeRunChallenge.org.
Thanks for coming.
Challenge. Thank you. And thanks for that home run to start the game, guys.
You bet. City, the first of 3 consecutive singles, throw in a Descalso sac fly, and it's 3-1 D-backs. You can participate in our 50-50 charity raffle presented by the Arizona Lottery. From home fans, along with all of us here at the ballpark, your chance to win half the pot and help the kids in our community. Tickets can be purchased online during every D-backs home game on Fox Sports Arizona at dbacks.com/50-50 raffle. And the winning number is revealed on the post-game show. Dominic Smith leads off the New York 4th against Zach Godley, who has struggled all night but now leads at 3-1. Smith doubled his first time up.
And you saw the tutorial going on in the dugout between innings as Mike Butcher was talking to Zach Godley. The learning never ends at the major league level.
Smith hammers one down the line. Off the pole and gone. That's his first this year. And make it 3-2 D-backs.
does that sound so good when a Diamondback hits it, but when a visiting player hits it, I don't like that sound at all.
Well, the leadoff man has reached safely in all 4 innings for New York so far.
We dropped right into that down and in position. Most left-handed hitters really like that pitch.
So Smith is doubled and homered. Here's the catcher, Plawecki. Let's chop foul in front of Glenn Sherlock at third. There is Sid Doc Rosenblatt, our Golden Glover down the left field line.
Nice job, Sid.
And Rocket Roger Rogowski is working right field tonight. Oddly falling off the mound badly that time. Spiked a curveball, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Zach trying to get his feet underneath him here. He's walked 2 and hit a batter. He's got 4 strikeouts. Well, Mike Butcher's worked hard, as we've talked about, with Zach Godley, trying to get him to come toward the plate instead of running away from the pitch, but it's not working as well as they'd like here tonight. That cutter's right there. Full count, 3-2.
One of those things, I mean, Zach Godley's been doing it ever since we've seen him. It's part of his DNA at this point. It's going to be really hard to make too much of a correction to that delivery.
Yeah, Torrey likes to say there's nothing subtle about Zach Godley. Everything is fairly dramatic. They call him the Bull for a reason. Plawecki lays off the curveball, and that's his 3rd walk tonight. So once again, Godley traffic around the bases. Here's Rosario, who hit into that outfield double play that ended the 2nd inning. Gerard Dyson from center field threw out Jose Bautista, trying to score to end the inning.
Here's an odd stat for you, partner.
Yeah.
Most runs allowed in the 4th inning of a ball game this year. Alex Cobb's allowed 17, Danny Duffy and Zach Godley 16 in the 4th inning. It just seems odd.
Oh, Plawecki's way off the bag, and they got him. He got a bad read on that ball in the dirt, wandered too far off first base. And Godley catches a break.
Oh, he slipped. Tried to plant that left foot and it went right out from underneath him. Then he slipped again before he could make his head first slide back into the bag.
Goldie turned around. He wasn't there. 0-1 on the Mets shortstop, Ahmed Rosario. This is a deep drive to right center field. Sanjay has it. Here's the pitcher Lugo, who singled and scored to lead off the 3rd.
And his single whistled right by the head of Zach Godley out there on the mound, went right back up the middle of the field. I got a feeling he's going to pitch him like a hitter this time.
Boy, you know, it could be so much worse here for Zach Godley. We mentioned the outfield double play ball that ended the 2nd when Bautista was thrown out trying to score. Zach had 2nd and 3rd. Nobody out, a run in the 3rd. Got 3 consecutive strikeouts to strand 2. And he just caught a break there when Plawecki tripped and got himself picked off. And now he's ahead of the pitcher, 0-2.
When Lugo gets his hacks in, he's not an easy out, and he vaguely reminds me of Pat Burrell, Pat the Bat, former Philly great, just facially.
Got him on a curveball. 5 strikeouts for Godley. D-backs have a 3-2 lead.
The plate, he saved at least a couple runs with his defense, blocking those wild pitches by Zach Godley, keeping those runners at third base, and really makes it pay off on that shallow fly ball to center field. Gerard Dyson guns out Jose Bautista trying to score from third since they couldn't score on the wild pitches. Quick snap throw down to first base to catch Kevin Plawecki, who had his roller skates on as he took his lead off first base there.
Yeah, you don't just crouch down back there and catch the ball that comes right to you, do you?
No. I mean, you look around Major League Baseball, and just about every position you can say, well, he's in there for his bat. He's not much of a defender, but that doesn't usually happen behind the plate. You better be able to field your position, block the balls you should, throw out the runners you should, and call a good game. Otherwise, it doesn't matter what you do with the bat.
He struck out his first time up in the second. He leads off the fourth against Seth Lugo. Dominic Smith's home run has cut the D-backs lead down to 1. There's the Lugo curveball. Mets have the shift on against Alex Avila. Get asked from time to time by D-backs fans, how come you guys don't say Avila, which is the correct pronunciation? Why do you say Avila? Well, the reason is that's the way Alex prefers it.
Yeah.
You'll notice he doesn't have the accent over the last name on his jersey. And so, at his request, he is Alex Avila. Fastball's a strike, and it's 2-2. Alex played his college baseball at Alabama. Crimson Tide. He was the Tigers' primary catcher during their 3 consecutive trips to the ALCS, including their 2012 pennant winners. Fastball misses low. He's worked at full 3-2. And into the shift. There's his Drupal Cabrera for the outfield grass. 1 out. Here's Gerard Dyson.
You mentioned Gerard sporting some red shoes tonight. That's a new look for him.
Yeah, it is. He matches a t-shirt under the uniform there.
Of course, he runs like his feet are on fire, so it's appropriate he's wearing red shoes.
I think he's been hanging out with Ketel Marte.
I know his locker. Where were we? Washington. He lockers right next to shoes. Marte.
Let's rub it off. Well, Shoes Marte has the night off, at least to start, so he's sort of toned down his game tonight. Those shoes look like something you might wear if you played for the Kansas City Chiefs or something.
Yeah, it's not like Ketel. That's a very subdued look for him.
Good curveball, catches Dyson looking. That's 6 strikeouts for Seth Lugo. He's got Dyson twice. The pitcher Zach Godley, a strikeout victim his first time. Dodgers have taken a 1-0 lead over the Giants. They're in the 4th in LA. D-backs 2.5 up on the Dodgers, atop the division to start play tonight. Colorado leads at Texas 8-5. They're in the 9th.
Kike Hernandez with his 9th homer gave the Dodgers that 1-0 lead in the bottom of the 4th.
Clayton Richard, a winner for the Padres. They beat the Braves in Atlanta 9-3. Two and 2 on Zach. Missed with a curveball in. It's full 3-2. John Jay on deck. Godley has himself a base hit. A 2-out single for Zach. Well, here's a chance for John Jay. He's grounded out, singled, and scored a run. He had a pair of singles last night, so counting tonight, that's 8 hits in 4 games for John Jay. Seth Lugo about to throw pitch number 80 on the year. We mentioned he's been working primarily in the bullpen all season long. His high pitch count for the season is 84. That was in his win against the Yankees on Sunday. That's hard to second for Cabrera. Little shovel pass to Rosario for the force on Godley. Fifth inning on the way. D-backs have a 3-2 lead.
Take a look at this day in baseball history, brought to you by Geico. A little bit of a Mets twist here. Back on June 15th, 1983, the Cardinals trade former MVP Keith Hernandez to the Mets for right-handed pitchers Neil Allen and Rick Ownby. Now, the two right-handed pitchers combined to go 21 and 22 throughout the remainder of their career. Keith Hernandez just went on to win more Gold Gloves, hit nearly 300 for the Mets, and brought home that World Series trophy to Shea Stadium back in 1986. Yeah.
Those of us who grew up in Boston remember the day. Keith Hernandez was an MVP. He won a batting title. He won 2 World Series. He went to 5 All-Star games and won 11 Gold Gloves. Ooh. And oh, by the way, hit 296 for his career.
I mean, there were other great defensive first basemen before Keith Hernandez, but for me, he really revolutionized the position. He was an athlete.
And I remember when we were in Citi Field last month, as Conforto leads off the 5th, Keith gave you a copy of his brand new book, and I think you read the entire thing on the flight back. Yeah, you could not put it down.
I thought it was very interesting because it was around the same time I was playing in the minor leagues. Of course, he was advancing much quicker than I did, but a lot of the same experiences, a lot of the same names, you know, people that I knew that he knew, and I found it very interesting.
Michael Conforto leads it off. The leadoff man has reached safely in all 4 innings so far for the Mets against Zach Godley. A walk, a single, and a home run. This is skied behind shortstop. The shift was on. Ahmed drifting over there, and he's got it. There are many people who insist that Keith was the greatest defensive first baseman to ever play the game.
I would not argue that. As I was saying, he revolutionized the position. He was so quick. He was so athletic. He would charge bunts and throw the lead runner out with regularity. I mean, you know, you think about the captain of the defense, and it's usually the catcher or the shortstop, but Keith Hernandez was undoubtedly the leader of that team defensively.
And there were so many years going through his page that he had more walks than strikeouts. Time after time after time. Won a batting title in 1979, hit .344. Here's Todd Frazier, who had an RBI double in the 3rd. Godley jumps ahead 0-2. There's a look for Moscam. You can see the drop on that curveball right there from Moscam. Swing and a miss. Another curveball. 6 strikeouts for Godley. Brandon Nimmo.
Just to put a bow around the Keith Hernandez conversation, maybe the second best defensive first baseman in the history of the game. Mark Grace wore number 17 to honor Keith Hernandez.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. It's interesting. Zach, 80 pitches, 47 for strikes. Looking for his first 1-2-3 inning of the night. Nimmo is grounded out, struck out 0 for 2.
And Gracie single-handedly saved Sean Dunston about 1,000 errors.
With the throws.
Oh my.
Well, he had a big arm.
He had a huge arm, one of the best arms in all of baseball, and he would sling him across that infield at Wrigley and short hop him, long hop him, throw him over his head. Gracie got them all.
Godley 0-2 on Nimmo. Starting to settle in hopefully now. Swing and a miss on a curveball. 7 strikeouts for Godley. A 1-2-3 fifth. It's 3-2 D-backs.
Pitches out of the strike zone. A curveball, a fastball just off the plate away. That appeared to be a changeup down, and then a 94-mile-an-hour heater on the outer third, and Goldie hit it like a left-handed pull hitter, way out of here to right.
His 14th of the year in his second game in a row with a home run. He leads off the 5th against Seth Lugo. Goldie 2 for 2 so far. It's up to 264 for the year, the batting average.
Wow.
On May 22nd, it was 198. That's amazing.
It really is. And he's up to 250 at bats on the season. And obviously, the more at bats you get, the tougher it is to raise that average. I mean, these guys over the course of a season will get to the point where a base hit sometimes won't even raise your average a point. And an 0 for 1 might not take it down a point once you get enough at bats built up.
And you're talking about a batting average for the year that's gone up more than 60 points in 20 games.
Wow.
He's now hit safely in 11 straight. Changeup is in, 2-2. Lugo 84 pitches. That has matched his season high set Sunday in a win over the Yankees. No one is warming up in the Met bullpen for Mickey Callaway. Goldie, Lamb, Peralta, the heads of state in the order tonight, 2, 3, and 4 here in the D-back fifth. Tapped to shortstop, Rosario. They retire Goldie for the first time tonight. One away for Lamb. Jake had an RBI single in the third. That's how the Mets will line up defensively. Rosario, the shortstop, well over there on the first base side of second. Frazier all by himself midway between second and third. Big slow curveball that time from Lugo. Lugo so far has walked 1. He struck out 6. Friday night in Phoenix here at Chase Field. That's a good example right there. That's the fastball that Jake is looking for to try and take it to left center. You'll notice to start this at bat, he laid off the fastball in. He's looking middle away with anything 90 and north of that, so he can really drive it to left center.
Changeup.
Talking to Torrey about Jake the other day, he's really seeing Jake see the spin, pick up the late action on that ball now. Borderline fastball there. Looks at strike 3. 7 strikeouts for Lugo. Here comes David Peralta. And now it's time for Lowe's whole team together. Home runs in June. D-backs right behind those boys in blue. And Peralta has been leading the charge. He's got himself a 2-out single. Bullpen will have to get busy for the Mets with Lugo approaching 100 pitches in the ball game. Descalso has singled. He's got an RBI sac fly. To Zellman, the big right-hander. Descalso counting tonight. 15 hits and 15 RBIs in his last 14 games. He has been enormously productive.
And something that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, situations like this where it looked like it was going to be a fairly quick inning for Lugo, and David Peralta gets a base hit into right field. Now Daniel Descalso probably grind out about a 9-pitch at bat, and Mickey Callaway may have to make a pitching change before this inning is over.
That's belted down the line and just foul. That would have brought home a run easily. Peralta flying around second with 2 outs. Funny thing about Daniel, that 14-game run with all the hits and the RBIs. His on-base percentage over that stretch is just a tick below 500. Back with you tomorrow night. Game 3 of the 4-game set. D-backs and Mets. Patrick Corbin and Steven Matz, couple of left-handers. Bounced a curveball up there. Don't forget, tomorrow night's a later start than we're used to. 7:10. D-backs live pregame show at 6:30 on Fox Sports Arizona. And then the series finale Sunday. Clay Buchholz and Zach Wheeler. Then a long road trip. Los Angeles, Pittsburgh, and Miami. And Los Angeles, that's 2 against the Angels, not the Dodgers. Angels put about 4 or 5 guys on the DL today.
Yeah, I saw that.
Zach Cozart and a few other guys. Descalso ahead, 3 balls and 1 strike. Well, if you pick up the spin and see that curveball early, it's got to be hard to lay off some of those. It's got to look tantalizing.
It does. I mean, obviously it's slower than his fastball or his hard slider. If you recognize it out of his hand, the key is making sure it's a strike. You know, it's got so much break on it that it might start at the top of the strike zone, but by the time you swing at it, it's in the dirt.
Yeah, that's what happened to Daniel on that one. Now it's full 3-2. There goes Peralta. Descalso hits it deep to right field. And gone. That's Tacos. It's 5-2. Number 8 for Daniel Descalso. That's 5 runs.
Just another grinding at bat. Give that pitcher a chance to make a mistake, and Lugo eventually does. A fastball on the outer third of the plate. Daniel looking fastball and blasted it out of here. Nice catch.
And as you said, all this with 2 outs. The Peralta base hit, the Descalso homer. Now it's a 3-run lead. Here's Nick Ahmed. Fat and happy continues here in June. Jumbo Jacks, pizza, tacos. A fast food trifecta. Frazier at third. Takes extra bases away from Ahmed. Daniel Descalso, his 8th of the year. It's 5-2 D-backs. Hey, if you messed up and you need last-minute plans for Dad this weekend, get tickets for Sunday's 1 o'clock game against the Mets. First 15,000 dads take home this awesome Hawaiian shirt, courtesy of Tyson Foods. Visit dbacks.com/dad. That is, we're going to have a big crowd here Sunday. So come on down. That's going to be a lot of fun. Daniel Descalso's 8th of the year has made it 5-2. Zach Godley settling in, coming off a 9-pitch 5th inning. Zach has retired the last 5 Mets he's faced. He's got 7 strikeouts tonight. He's punched out Cabrera twice. He leads off the Mets 6th. Did you see what just happened in the Legends race?
I did. Very disturbing.
Yes. Nick Ahmed into the shift. Matt Williams won. But it turned into a World Cup soccer match, and Gonzo was given a red card. Now, if we're really sticklers for the rules here, guys, that means Gonzo cannot participate in the Legends race tomorrow because he got a red card tonight. This is Gracie. Gonzo right there. There's a blatant foul. Baxter comes in, red card right away. That was not, that looked like a dive. Gonzo diving.
They do that in soccer?
Dive occasionally.
There's more diving in soccer than there is in the pool at the Olympics.
Nice. Well, as a hardcore World Cup follower, I'm surprised you didn't know that.
Well, I was just seeing if you knew.
So that was the fracas in the Legends race tonight. World Cup theme to the event. Bautista has walked and struck out. Jose Bautista, his 15th major league season. 37 years old, still going. Curveballs is striking. It's 1-2. That's a fair ball. Third base for Jake Lamb. 7 straight set down by Zach Godley. He's finally looking comfortable out there, and Godley's rolling along.
Hey, fans, the day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
Looking for his 2nd consecutive 1-2-3 inning. Here is the rookie first baseman. Well, actually, he was a rookie last year. Dominic Smith, a double and a home run. Barely used up his rookie eligibility last year.
Having himself a real nice birthday, celebrating his 23rd today.
He's just a kid. He's done a good job trimming down Dominic Smith. That's been the concern on the Mets part. He was a 1st-round draft pick 5 years ago, the 11th overall pick in the draft, and his weight can get a little out of hand from time to time. But he looks to be in pretty good shape. Zach Godley. He's got it going. The Bull has set down 8 in a row. He leads it 5-2. Carhart starting rotation, part of a strikeout for vets, a finalist for the Bob Feller Active Valor Award, one of the best pitchers in the major leagues. Nice work there, Jacob DeGrom. Some changes.
We saw him at his best in New York earlier this year.
He just carved us up. He looked tremendous. You talk about fastball command. He can put it right where he wants it every time. Chris Beck, the right-hander, just claimed off waivers 2 days ago from the White Sox, is on for the Mets. These are his numbers in Chicago. Wilmer Flores just activated off the DL, takes over at first base. He'd been out with lower back soreness. Dominic Smith takes over in left field, replacing Jose Bautista. Alex Avila, who has struck out, grounded out, leads off the D-back sixth. So Flores is back. The Mets are as banged up as anybody these days. He'd been rehabbing at Class A Port St. Lucie this week. They're still without Yoenis Cespedes. They don't have Ramos and Familia in their bullpen. Noah Syndergaard is still out. But they get Flores back tonight.
Yeah, Flores is swinging it pretty well on 3 rehab games. Went 6 for 11 with 2 doubles, a homer, and drove in 4. Mets will welcome any kind of offense.
Avila lines it right to Cabrera. The shift was on. Gerard Dyson has struck out twice. Trying to bunt his way on. That brings in Frazier from third. Frazier still about 1/3 of the way in on the grass. It's 2-0 on Gerard Dyson. Now he's backing up a bit. Beck has fallen behind 3-0. Godley, the pitcher, is in the on-deck circle. His spot is up next. Dodgers have taken a 3-0 lead over the Giants. They're in the 5th inning in LA. Rockies 9-5 winners at Texas. They beat the Rangers. All 4. Dyson's aboard with 1 out.
Hey, fans, receive 15% off at the Chase Field Team Shop when you use the card by Gila River Casino.
Zach had a single in the 4th inning, a 2-out single against Seth Lugo. Frazier will stay in at third base. Dyson at first, 1 out. Godley squares to bunt. Pulls back, it's ball 1. Tony Paraschika coaching at third.
I'm just going to say once again, in this particular situation, ideally you bunt the ball to the first base side. Wilmer Flores holding on Gerard Dyson. He gets a late break toward home plate. You can see how far Todd Frazier's already in at third base.
There goes Dyson. Here's the throw from Plawecki. And he's in there with a stolen base, his 11th of the year. Mr. Zumbaya. Those red shoes are flying.
We got a great jump that time. Mets were so focused on Zach Godley at the plate and his possibility of a sacrifice bunt. They didn't really hold Gerard Dyson very close over there at first. He took advantage.
Here comes Flores from first. Godley swinging away at a fastball. 1-2. He was thinking RBI all the way right there. Now the corners will back off with 2 strikes. John Jay on deck, Goldie behind him. Dyson breaks for third. Godley strikes out. Dyson at third, now 2 down.
Don't stop now. Steal home. Just too big of a jump for Plawecki to have any chance to throw down there to third base. Tremendous jump by Gerard Dyson.
Well, the way John Jay is hitting the ball these days, this is a great opportunity here. Tack on a 2-out run. Jay singled and scored in the third. That one almost went to the backstop. Jay hammers one to right. Here comes Dyson, another hit for John Jay, and it's 6-2 D-backs. What an addition he's been.
In a lot of ways, he's very similar to Daniel Descalso in that he will grind in at bat, he'll foul off tough pitches, take pitches out of the strike zone, and if you make a mistake where he can get the barrel on it, he can hit it hard.
D-backs got a pair of 2-out runs in the 5th, another 2-out run here in the 6th. The chance for Goldie, who has homered and singled tonight. He scored twice. Goldie now with an 11-game hitting streak. Goldie, during his 11-game hit streak, is batting over .500. 13 extra base hits and 13 runs batted in. It's a pretty good run. Sliders at the knees in there, 1-1.
And if you ask Goldie about it, he'll tell you he's just trying to get a good pitch and put a good swing on it. Keep it simple.
For this inning, a great example of how Gerard Dyson's speed, as Mike Hazen told us it would during spring training, has changed or impacted the game. A 1-out walk, you look up, he's standing at third base, comes in on a 2-out single. Gets another run for Godley. One and two. Torey Lovullo, by the way, still goes by the get me 21 outs mandate for his starting pitchers. And with the way that Godley has really settled in after a very rocky first 3 or 4 innings, it looks like Zach is in good shape to go back out there and try and get those 21 outs to start the 7th. That one got Plawecki. Well, he's taken a beating tonight.
Boy, he really has. That one hit hard. Ricocheted almost all the way over to that first base dugout, right off of that knee protector. Oh, man. Well, you see that little flap that kind of protects the crease between the two pads on the shin guard. They didn't used to have those when I played. That ball would have found that crease.
Would you like to have those, what do you call them, leg savers, the black things on the back of the calf there?
Yeah, I've tried them on. My son Michael used to use them when he caught in the Cubs organization. I didn't like them myself. It just didn't feel comfortable for me. But obviously you don't squat as far down. Your rear end doesn't drop all the way down onto your heels when you get into that crouch, and that's why they call them knee savers. I didn't want anything to slow me down, you know.
Well, with your kind of speed, it's understandable. Those aren't aerodynamic or anything. You just went ahead and got new knees, so it all worked out.
Yeah, at least one so far. I mean, I will say it was more comfortable to sit that way. You know, it does take a lot of the pressure off the knee joint, but for me personally, it just didn't feel comfortable.
Fastball sailed on Beck, and it's 2-2. Jake Lamb has an RBI single tonight. Beck over 20 pitches now here in the 6th inning. John Jay takes off. That one's inside, and they got him at second. Jay still standing at second base. We'll check with Alan Campbell in the video room. Oh boy.
Oh man, that is about as close as it gets.
They will challenge. They're going to put the headsets on here.
They have to check several different angles to get some kind of a definitive reading on that play. That was very close.
That may come under the heading close enough to take a chance with a 6-2 lead here in the 6th.
I would agree.
You can't take them with you.
Yeah, especially if you can get it overturned. You've got a runner in scoring position for Goldie and possibly Jake Lamb, depending on how the rest of the inning goes.
Sure looks from that angle like he's in there. You can see the reaction when the foot hits the bag. Just nice to see somebody go in there feet first for a change.
Yeah.
It's terribly close.
I always find it so interesting when the umpires get the headsets on. They're in communication back to New York, where other umpires are looking at multiple angles of the replay, but the umpires that are here at the ballpark just look up at the big board and they get to see several replays.
Yeah, once it goes to New York, it's out of their hands. The call gets made at MLB. That was a big priority for the umpires when replay was introduced. The umpires wanted to get on the headsets and talk to other umpires. They wanted to talk to their colleagues and not a video official or something. They wanted to be phone to phone with other umpires. They speak the same language. And so you rotate through MLB headquarters to work the video angle like you would any other big league ballpark.
I wonder what MLB does about housing for the umpires when they're back in New York. It would seem to make sense to get one apartment or townhouse or condo and have all the umpires stay there when they're in New York.
Like an umpire frat house.
Yeah, there you go.
You probably have toga parties and stuff.
There you see Jim Reynolds on the right, not only the crew chief, but the lead photographer for this crew. Chad Fairchild, the home plate umpire before the game, had some friends and family here at the ballpark and had him out on the warning track and posed for some pictures, and Jim Reynolds was the photog.
Well, they are looking at every angle they can find. This has taken a while.
There we go.
He is out at second. That'll end the 6th inning. At the end of the 7th, D-backs have a 6-2 lead over the Mets.
Visit MLB.tv for details.
That's catcher Kevin Plawecki, who just threw out John Jay attempting to steal to win the 6th. Leads off the 7th against Zach Godley. Plawecki is grounded out and walked. Godley coming off a 9-pitch 5th inning and an 8-pitch 6th inning. He was all over the place to start this ball game, but he has really settled down nicely. Over the last 13 batters, he's given up just 1 hit. That was the Smith homer off the foul pole in right. He has walked 3 tonight. He's got 7 strikeouts. It's going to hang in the air, right center field. Jay gets over there. 9 straight set down by Zach.
You're a partner with Father's Day coming up on Sunday. I think it would be a good move by the children out there to surprise Dad and bring him out on Saturday. You know, it's Father's Day weekend. He expected the gifts on Sunday. Instead, they
ambush.
Bring him out here on Saturday. Catch him by surprise. Tough to catch Dad by surprise, though.
Ahmed Rosario, the shortstop. Yeah, going to have some big crowds here this weekend. A 7:10 start tomorrow night. D-backs live pregame show at 6:30 on Fox Sports Arizona. Patrick Corbin and Steven Matz. So you still got time to get your tickets. The Father's Day matchup Sunday, a 1:10 start. Clay Buchholz against Zach Wheeler. Rosario just by a diving Nick Ahmed. It's a 1-out single. Boy, for whatever reason, they just have trouble getting Ahmed Rosario out.
Just out of the reach. Nick was shading maybe a step or 2 over in the hole between 3rd and short, and that one just snuck up the middle of the field.
Well, first at bat in the series for Wilmer Flores, just back from a lower back problem. Mike Butcher out to the mound. 248, 3 homers for Flores. He was rehabbing in the minors this week.
And my staff's been right on top of it as usual tonight, partner. We were talking about Keith Hernandez earlier and what a great defensive first baseman he was. Defensive run saves by a first baseman, the top 5 since 1920. Keith Hernandez atop the list.
Number 1, huh?
Number 2 really surprised me. John Olerud.
Okay.
Number 3 on the list, Mark Teixeira, great defender down at first base. This one really surprised me.
Teixeira was really good.
Yeah. Number 4 on the list, George Scott.
The boomer. Yeah. He won a bunch of gold gloves.
How about that? Yeah. And then Mark Grace, 5th on that list.
Wow.
Since 1920 in defensive run saves at first base.
Nice job, Gracie. How about that?
How about that? And we thank our friends at Arizona State Pit for that information. See, my staff has their own staff.
Well, the folks at Snake Pit do a terrific job. I think frankly they're a little better than your staff.
Oh.
Well, you know, that's some tough love right there.
I see some tears welling up back here behind me.
Hello, Gracie. I mean, the Snake Pit folks they had the genius idea. They had the gumption to go interview Ralph Kelso about what it's like to be a cameraman here. Ralph did an interview
behind the scenes.
Yeah, there's Ralph. You can find that online.
It's tough because you have to schedule an appointment to interview Ralph.
Oh, that's why it took so long. Yeah, he's busy looking up the weather forecasts. 1-1 on Wilmer Flores. Godley really fell off the mound that time. 2 balls and a strike. Boy, that single by Rosario and the home run by Smith to lead off the 4th. Those are the only 2 hits Godley has given up since Frazier's RBI double in the 3rd inning. It didn't look like Zach was going to get through 5 here, but he has done a terrific job of finding it. There's a good curveball right at the knees. Important for him to throw that pitch for a strike, and it's 2-2. Look at that, a 9-pitch 5th, an 8-pitch 6th inning. 26 pitches in that 3rd. Swing and a miss. 8 strikeouts for Godley.
I mentioned Flores was tearing it up in his 3 rehab starts. I'd venture a guess he didn't see a curveball like that.
Here comes Torey Lovullo. You're going to look back at that 3rd inning after the Mets scored a run. They had 2nd and 3rd no outs. Godley got 3 straight strikeouts. He's got 8 in the ball game, and he leaves after 6 2/3.
A lot of them with curveballs, however. You see that ball bending down in there in the low 80s. That was a cut fastball right on the corner, but right back to the curveball again. And again, and again, and again.
Still almost running down the side of that pitcher's mound toward first base, but the numbers speak for themselves. 6 2/3, only 2 runs given up, 8 strikeouts. At one point he set down 9 in a row. On to face the left-hand hitting Michael Conforto is the left-hand throwing Andrew Chafin, trying to get the final out of the 7th. Ahmed Rosario the runner at first. Conforto has homered twice this year off lefties. He's about a 170 hitter versus left-hand pitching this year. There's the D-backs overshift on the first base side against Conforto. Fastball misses just low. It's 2 balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, not a strike, but a good location there. Power that 95-mile-an-hour heater down there around the knees.
Oddly responsible for Rosario at first. D-backs trying to make it 2 in a row over the Mets. Frazier would be next, the on-deck man. Dodgers are winning. They lead the Giants 3-0 in the 6th. D-backs 2.5 up. And bounce to Goldie. Chafin comes on, gets the final out. And we stretch at Chase Field. Goldie leads off the home half when we come back. lead the Mets 6-2. Game of Thrones night, July 7th here at Chase Field. Get a lower level game ticket and an exclusive Ice Dragon bobblehead, only $50. With a special event ticket pack as Goldie leads off the home half. Now limited quantities are available, so send a Raven to dbacks.com/GOT. July 7th at Chase Field, Game of Thrones night. Goldie has homered, singled, he scored twice. Chris Beck, the right-hander, just acquired on waivers from the White Sox, back out there for his second inning of work in relief of Seth Lugo. Bullpen quiet for the moment for the Mets. This is hit deep to right field. Nimmo on the run. And he's got it just shy of the line and corner out there. One out in the 7th. Jake Lamb. Jake had an RBI single in the 3rd. He has struck out twice, 1 for 3. Mets will put the shift on against Lamb. Boy, you see where Frazier is the third baseman. They give Jake the entire left side of the infield. Lifts this one deep left center field. Dominic Smith almost collides with Conforto. He started the game at first base, Dominic Smith. 2 down.
Good approach, good swing that time. Just didn't quite get enough of it to sneak it into that gap in left center field.
He's really starting to tap into that opposite field power. Peralta has walked, singled, scored a run. David now with a 7-game hitting streak. A lot of talk about what has changed with Peralta, this home run that he's on. He's already matched his total from all of last year with 14 homers. Note his hands, they're lower and closer to his body than they used to be. Remember that when he used to have that buggy whip motion? The hands were out there a little bit more. Now they're in and a bit lower. And Torrey was telling us before the game today, he thinks that is allowing David to get the barrel of the bat to the ball a little more frequently, a little quicker. And that's a part of the reason why he's able to drive the ball like we've seen him.
Yeah, just slow, subtle changes we've seen from David Peralta over the last couple of years. You mentioned that buggy whip when he used to snap the bat straight up and down. Much more smooth now. He'll raise that bat up into the hitting position. As you mentioned, the hands down lower. Another base hit.
Punches it into left center. He's aboard for the 4th time tonight.
Daniel Descalso making his way to the plate. Back in the 5th inning, he slugged a 2-run homer. Let's take a look at the pitch by pitch. First pitch was a changeup. Remember that, a changeup. Fastball was pulled foul down the first baseline. A curveball for a ball. A fastball for a ball. He misses the curve right there. He fouled it off, and then another changeup. The first and last pitch of the at bat were changeups, and Daniel was all over it.
That was his 8th home run of the year with 2 outs in the 5th. Lays off a high fastball, 1-0.
I'm not sure if this defines clutch. You know, it's open for argument whether hitters are actually clutch or not. But with nobody on base this year, Daniel Descalso is a .222 hitter with 1 homer. With runners on base, he's hitting .362 with 7 homers.
Wow. Well, that might take place in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th inning. That's not necessarily what you think of as clutch, but it's just getting big hits in big spots.
Right. And he still is perfect on the mound. Hasn't given up a run.
He doesn't like when we mention that. He thinks we're going to jinx him. Of course, there are a lot of sabermetrically inclined folks that say if you can't quantify something, it doesn't exist, like clutch. That's a dirty word. It's like bunt. Just don't bring it up. Jerry Blevins who had a rough night here last night. Three and one on Descalso. Ahmed on deck. Boy, same situation came up in the 5th inning. Peralta had a 2-out single. That's when Descalso hit that home run out to right. That was on a 3-2 pitch. Here's the 3-1. All 4. A single and a walk with 2 outs. Second walk issued by Beck, and the batter is Nick Ahmed. Nick 0 for 3 tonight. Peralta's at second, Descalso at first, 2 outs. Got that fastball up and in on the hands. It's 0-1.
Being told by the fine people at Arizona AZ Snake Pit that I need to look at linear weights when we're talking about clutch players. How does the win probability change after every at bat?
Wow. You're into win probability now. I like the fact that you're going to the Snake Pit, folks, instead of your staff. I can't overlook that.
I think my staff are honorary Snake Pit members.
Oh, all right. Kind of cheating. Are you paying the dues on that as part of your expenses?
They file expense reports and I just pay them.
You just approve them?
I don't even know what it's for. Wardrobe. What do they need wardrobe for?
Have you seen the way they dress these people?
I have.
0-1. Good slider there from Beck, and it's no balls and 2 strikes on Nick Ahmed. Dodgers winning 3-0 in the 7th. Rockies won in Texas today. Padres winners in Atlanta. D-backs trying to climb to 9 over 500. Laid off the slider that time. 1-2. Nick having a solid month of June at the plate. He's hitting .300 this month. He's got 5 extra base hits. He's knocked in 6 runs. Doesn't chase the changeup, and he's even 2-2. Avila would be next. John Ryan Murphy may be getting ready to pinch hit. Two. Nick pokes it down the line. Foul.
Good emergency swing right there. Too close to take. Not really good enough to do much with it. Just throw the bat at it and hope you can foul it off and stay alive.
For folks who may not know, what would you define as a good 2-strike approach?
Well, a 2-strike approach, a lot of times you're going to look bad because you want to wait. You don't want to be too aggressive and get out in front of a breaking ball or an off-speed pitch or chase something out of the strike zone. So you try to be a little more defensive. That's why you see a lot of guys choke up on the bat so they can wait a little bit longer to identify the pitch. And then if it's borderline, do whatever you can to get a piece of it.
Like we just saw Nick do there. Doesn't bite on that fastball, and he's worked it full.
In this day and age in baseball, a lot of guys don't have a 2-strike approach. They try to hit the ball in the seats from the first pitch of the at bat till the last pitch of the at bat.
Or they just strike out.
Yeah.
So here we go. 2 on, 2 out, 3-2 on Nick Ahmed. Runners on the move. That one is fouled. We got a hanging slider that time.
It used to be identifiable when guys would go into their two-strike approach. Some hitters, you know, they might stand very erect in the batter's box up until they got to 2 strikes, and then they would choke up 6 inches on the bat and go into a crouch. Just trying to battle that pitcher as best you can when you're in that 2-strike hole.
I saw, in a sense, Corey Dickerson do that earlier this week on the Pirates, choking up from the left-hand side. Runners will be on the move again here. Peralta at second, Descalso at first. There they go. Nick able to check on the slider. The bases are loaded. That was a heck of an at bat. So 3 straight have reached on with 2 outs.
Well, that ball 4 right there was very similar to that 2-strike pitch he fouled away to stay alive in the at bat. Ultimately takes the base on balls to load him up.
That's skipper Mickey Callaway out to get his pitcher. We'll take a break. Cardinals 3-game series coming up here at Chase Field next month, July 2nd through the 4th, and stick around after the game on Wednesday, July 4th, for the best fireworks spectacular in town, presented by Gila River Hotels and Casinos. Visit dbacks.com. Here's the left-hander Jerry Blevins, who struggles to get lefties out for some weird reason. He'll face the left-hand batting Alex Avila with the bases full and 2 down.
And maybe that's why Alex Avila is taking the at-bat. We gave the numbers last night for Blevins, much more effective against righties than lefties. You saw John Ryan Murphy putting his ankle guard on in the third base dugout, but Alex Avila will take the at-bat.
Lefties are hitting .351 against Jerry Blevins this year, 12 for 37. Alex 0 for 3. Hit the ball hard his last time up, lined it right to Cabrera at second. And again, the Mets have the shift on. Giants are on the board in LA. It's 3-2 Dodgers. Peralta's at third, Descalso at second, and Nick Ahmed at first. Just missed. Pretty good curveball there. 1-1.
I'm going to keep saying this until it happens. The
Okay.
Diamondbacks are still looking for their first grand slam of the season.
You are really trying. I give you credit for that.
They have drawn 10 base on balls with the bases loaded. They've also had a batter hit by pitch with the bases loaded, but still looking for that big ball.
Jorge De La Rosa ready in the bullpen. 1-1. Fastball misses in. 2 balls and a strike on Alex Avila. I admire your determination on that point. It's going to work eventually.
Well, for those fans that think we put the whammy on no hitters and things like that because of what we say up here in the booth, 250 feet from the field. Yeah, if we can put the whammy on him, we can put the reverse whammy. Has Blevins given up a grand slam this year? I wonder.
Well, if he has, it was probably to a lefty. Nice hit on deck. Two and two. Wow, that's a good take right there.
Oh my.
That is a really good take.
That's a good take because that ball swept all the way from one side of the strike zone off the plate away.
Had to be hard to lay off that pitch with 2 strikes. It's full 3-2. Bases loaded, 2 down. Caught looking at a fastball, and the D-backs leave him loaded. We hit the 8th. It's 6-2 D-backs. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. A big weekend planned here at Chase Field. A little bit later start than normal tomorrow night. D-backs live pregame show at 6:30 on Fox Sports Arizona. Matchup of left-handers Steven Matz for New York and Patrick Corbin for the D-backs. And then Father's Day, a big day here Sunday. Play Buck Holson, Zach Wheeler. That's what's next brought to you by CenturyLink. So Corbin Saturday, Buckholz Sunday. Right now it's Chafin against Todd Frazier as we start the 8th. Frazier had an RBI double against Zach Godley in the 3rd. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Frazier got a 2-year, $17 million free agent deal with the Mets just before spring training opened up. D-backs will put the shift on against him. He split last year between the White Sox and the Yankees. Longtime Cincinnati Red. Another high fastball from Chafin. He's behind 2-0. Frazier only 2 years ago belted 40 home runs in Chicago. That's after 5 seasons in Cincinnati where he was twice a National League All-Star for the Reds. That fastball's in there, 2-1.
Yeah, Frazier's had the good fortune to play in a couple of really good home run ballparks. In Chicago, that White Sox park, man, that is a launching pad. And of course, Cincinnati, Great American Ballpark, we know how small that is.
Another fastball from Chafin. All fastballs so far. It's 2-2. Brandon Nimmo on deck. Cabrera after that. 2, 3, and 4 here in the New York 8th inning. Toward the pole and right. And out of play. Of course, Frazier out of Toms River, New Jersey, a Little League powerhouse for years and years. Played his college ball in New Jersey at Rutgers, a first-round pick back in '07. That bullpen start to get at it again. Anthony Swarzak. Boy, Mickey Callaway was a lot easier as the Indians pitching coach than it's been as Mets manager. The Mets are really scuffling. They've lost 11 of 12, 16 of their last 19. There's another foul ball.
And we mentioned it when we were in New York earlier this year. Mickey Callaway was teammates with former D-back David DeLucci at Mississippi State.
Another college baseball powerhouse. Longtime pitching coach for Terry Francona in Cleveland. Now the Mets skipper. Mets were swept here at Chase Field last year. They haven't won a series here since 2014. This is popped up. Who wants it? They got it surrounded. Goldie one away.
I should correct myself before David DeLucci sends me a nasty text message. University of Mississippi, not Mississippi State.
Wow. Do you realize what a faux pas that is?
I do. I was not even going to mention it, but
the people in Stark Vegas won't even say. They'll just say that school up north.
Wow. Well, I knew it was one of them.
Yeah, close enough. 50-50 chance. Brandon Nimmo 0 for 3. Now here's another left-hand batter. They don't shift quite as much, in fact maybe at all, against Nimmo like they have against some of the other Met lefties. Descalso's there. Chafin has retired all 3 he's faced. Here comes Asdrubal Cabrera. Tell you what, if you can get through this game without having to use Yoshi or Archie, that'll really help over the weekend. Although now it looks like Archie's starting to stir down there. Here's Cabrera. 0 for 3. 0 for 7 in the series. Boy, is Asdrubal Cabrera near the end of last month. Here's Bradley. We saw Archie throw 15 pitches in the ball game last night. Cabrera near the end of last month was hitting .315. He was off to a very good start. There was talk he'd probably be their all-star. They didn't have one of their pitchers. But he has really slumped ever since. Descalso behind the bag. Chafin retires all 4 batters he faces tonight. He keeps it 6-2 D-backs.
Grace, a lot to talk about. Another couple of homers, Goldie Descalzo, Zach Godley, strong outing, but you like another guy who's been a catalyst for this team.
Yeah, ever since the arrival of John Jay, well, the Diamondbacks have won a lot of baseball games, and he's doing a great job at the top of the order. Not only is he getting base hits, but he's drawing walks, he's getting hit by pitches, and he's played a solid right field. This guy, he's always been a good hitter. He's finally showing Diamondback fans that he can play.
Yeah, he's a solid veteran, and we'll break it all down on the post-game show. Of course, we'll hear from the players and Torey Lovullo as well, guys.
All right, thanks, guys. That's coming up right after our ball game. Here's Anthony Swarzak on from the Met bullpen to face Gerard Dyson to start the bottom of the 8th. Pitcher spot up next. Ketel Marte in the on-deck circle. Oh, 2. Swarzak, another formerly injured Met. He was on the DL for most of the first half of this year. Just came off the DL June 4th. He had a left oblique strain. Got a 2-year deal to sign with the Mets back in December. Ketel Marte will hit for Chafin. Archie Bradley is no longer warming up the bullpen. Jorge De La Rosa looks like he's getting ready for the 9th inning. 0-2 on Dyson. Here's Jorge De La Rosa coming off that Achilles bursitis that put him on the DL for a while. Always nice when you can get a win and Torey does not have to use Yoshi, Archie, and Boxberger. Dyson hits one at Conforto in center. One out. Here's Ketel Marte. Marte up to 254 homers. He walked, had an RBI single last night. Torey Lovullo continues rotating Marte, Ahmed, and Descalso through the 2 middle infield spots. So Ketel was sitting out this one to start tonight. But he comes into this at bat with a 5-game hit streak. What a month of June it's been. Ketel Marte hitting .405 in June with 11 extra base hits. Pretty good slider down by the knees, but it's 2-0.
One thing I've noticed with Ketel Marte, watch his chin as he gets in that left-handed batter's box. He'll look out toward the mound, but right before Swarzak gets ready to deliver, he makes sure that his head is very upright. Really get a good look at the pitch. I think earlier this season he was really tucking his head down into his right shoulder.
Dominic Smith in left field, 2 outs. That'll bring up John Jay, who once again has been the igniter in the leadoff spot. He has singled twice, scored a run. He's knocked in a run. Here's a contrast for you. The 1 through 5 hitters for each team. D-backs have 9 hits. The Mets have 1. John Jay, deep left center field. Dominic Smith off the wall.
It rolls back towards center. Jay heads for third, and he's got a stand-up triple. He just missed another home run. John Jay really likes to go the other way, left and left center, and that one almost carried out of here.
He barrels that ball up to the opposite field. Made a good sound coming off the bat. Looked like it was going to carry up into the bleachers. Just a little bit short. Dominic Smith, a first baseman by trade, got a little too close to the wall there in left field. Got away from him. Momentarily got away from Conforto. John Jay ends up with his third triple of the season.
And for the D-backs, that's now 6 triples in their last 7 games. A chance for Goldie, who has homered and singled tonight. 2 for 4. Good slider, got the call from Chad Fairchild, and Goldie's down 0-1. Dodgers still leading the Giants 3-2. They're in the 8th inning in LA. Rockies 9-5 winners at Texas. Padres won 9-3 in Atlanta. Jake Lamb would be next. D-backs got a pair of 2-out runs in the 5th on a Descalso homer after Peralta singled. They got a 2-out run in the 6th inning on John Jay's RBI single. Chance to pick up another one right here. Goldie's ahead 3-1.
Goldie had a 3-1 count back in the 1st inning. Got a fastball out over the plate and absolutely mashed it to right field.
His 14th homer of the year, 2nd in as many games.
Fastball away.
Belts it down the line. Goldie's 3rd hit tonight. Jay is home. 7-2 D-backs. Another 2-out RBI.
Boy, those can be so demoralizing for the team they happen against. You've got 2 quick outs in this inning. John Jay hits that triple. Paul Goldschmidt with a single. The inning just keeps going on and on.
John Jay, 3 hits from the leadoff spot. He scored twice. He's got an RBI. Not a bad night. A chance for Jake Lamb, who had an RBI single in the 3rd, 1 for 4. Jake has homered in 3 of his last 6 games, including last night. Goes after a first pitch breaking ball and fouls it off. Mark Grace, Jody Jackson standing by. D-backs live post-game show follows our ball game. Boy, gave him a fastball right there. Swarzak not afraid. 94. More high heat. He strikes out Lamb. Jay triples. Goldie singles. 7-2 as we hit the 9th. Oh, a great night to be at the ballpark. D-backs lead the Mets 7-2, looking to take the first 2 games of this series. New pitcher for the Diamondbacks, just off the DL after a battle with some right Achilles tendon bursitis. It's Jorge De La Rosa, the left-hander. Pitcher spot leads off the New York ninth. Jose Reyes will hit for Anthony Swarzak. So it's Reyes, Smith, and Plawecki here in the Met ninth. Jose Reyes, now 35 years old, 149, 1 homer. He is 1 for 16 as a pinch hitter this year. There was a time where Jose Reyes was Met royalty. First 9 seasons in New York, he was an All-Star 4 times. Won a batting title, or led the league in hits, I should say, in 08. Won a batting title in 2011. 1-2. Well, we're trying to keep you fat and happy, BB. The fat and happy June continues. With 5 runs, you get tacos. 10 of 14 games in June, you've had tacos. The home run gets you the Jumbo Jack. 11 of 14 games this month, the Jumbo Jack. And of course, if we can hang on here, it'll be 11 Papa John's pizzas.
Man, what a month.
Look out, Mike Farron. Oh, he's down on the field. Thank goodness that one hit his chair. Might have spilled something on his shirt.
He's at the dry cleaner.
2-2 still on Reyes. A look from Mosscam down on the field. Missed with a fastball, and it's full 3-2. This is career appearance number 399 for Jorge De La Rosa. That has been a money pitch for him for a long time, that splitter that Reyes just fouled off.
And still would be a money pitch for Jorge De La Rosa if he can scoot it out there on the outside part of the plate. Reyes really steps in the bucket with that front foot. The left foot goes almost right down that third base line. Has real trouble reaching outside pitches.
Drills this one to left center field. On a roll to the wall. Reyes on the run. A double to lead off the New York ninth. Been a good night for Dom Smith. He has doubled and homered. 2 for 3. Started the game at first base, now in left field. How about those kicks? Wow. Those look like space shoes.
I thought they were clear for a minute.
Alex Avila wants a word. Remember, the D-backs were swept at Citi Field in 3 games last month. In those 3 games, Torlovello's ball club scored 6 runs on 20 hits. In 2 games so far here at Chase Field, just 2, they've scored 13 runs on 20 hits. What a difference a month makes. Fastball's a strike, 0-1.
I mean, if you want to compare the two slumps, the Diamondbacks from May 9th to May 23rd were 1-13, and they hit 174 as a team.
Ouch.
The Mets from May 31st till today are 1-11. They've hit 136. So their slump's a lot worse than ours.
Let's keep it that way. It's 0-2. And the Mets 9 under 500. They're 10.5 back. Their GM Sandy Alderson had to hold a conference call this week and take responsibility for where they are. Some of the New York writers have been all over him. He had to go out there and said, look, we're just not scoring runs. We're scoring runs, in fact, at an anemic rate. Something hasn't worked. And from that standpoint, he takes total responsibility for where they are. The key now is to figure out how to fix it. And Mickey Callaway, in his first year as a big league manager, is riding a bumpy road in New York. Good splitter right there. De La Rosa gets Smith to strike out. One away.
Good pitch. Looking down and away that time from the left-handed swinging Smith. First out here in the ninth.
The catcher, Kevin Plawecki, 0 for 2 with a walk. Well, the Mets have a lot of their own first-round picks up with the club right now. Speaking of, what do they do to fix it? Plawecki was a first-rounder out of Purdue back in 2012. Conforto was a first-rounder out of Oregon State back in 2014. Dominic Smith, a first-round pick in 2013. Nimmo was a first-rounder back in 2011. So they've used first-round picks on guys that are still in the organization, young guys that are just coming up or have been up for only a year or two. That one rolls away from Avila. Reyes stays at second.
Well, there's no doubt the Mets are missing a lot of very key pieces. We talked about it last night. They've got a pretty good roster on the disabled list with Yoenis Cespedes, Travis d'Arnaud, David Wright, Noah Syndergaard, on and on and on. A lot of the tail end of their bullpen all on the disabled list.
Yeah, there's Thor. He's got a problem with his right index finger. He's got some swelling and tenderness in there. I don't know when he's coming back. Just saw Jacob deGrom a moment ago. Everybody says, well, just trade deGrom. There's a lot of people that feel that way in New York. A lot of people that feel strongly they shouldn't do that. Well, you can get one of the best pitchers in baseball right now, Jacob deGrom. You could get contractual control, and if that's the case, you figure that maybe the Mets can get a lot for him, because they're not doing very well with him. 2-2 on Plawecki. Tap back to the mound. De La Rosa on it quickly. Throw pulls Goldie off the bag. Reyes is at third. And Plawecki's aboard.
Yeah, one of those tweeners, little swinging bunt right there. Might have been a little bit easier play for Alex Avila since his momentum was kind of carrying him toward the ball that time. Jorge De La Rosa, being a left-handed thrower, had to get to it, turn his body and make the throw, and he rushed it, pulled Goldie off the bag for an E1.
Ahmed Rosario. Rosario homered last night. He singled his last time up tonight, 1 for 3. Mets have runners in the corners with 1 out. Bullpen will start to get busy now for the D-backs. Now you got to get Boxberger up there. He's got to get hot. Boxberger is one of those closers that uses his warm-up tosses on the mound when he comes in to get ready, so he can get ready very quickly. He doesn't throw very many pitches in that bullpen.
Yeah, which is a good thing if you end up not needing him. He's not one of those guys that's going to throw 50 or 60 pitches down there in the bullpen waiting to come into the ball game. He gets to a point where he knows with 8 more warm-up pitches he'll be ready to go.
And of course they track all the pitches that the pitchers throw in the bullpen, whether they come in the game or not, and it all gets factored into their availability for down the road. Well, see, Brad has stopped throwing, hasn't thrown a pitch for a while now. He'll just sort of spectate back there. 0-2 on the Mets shortstop. Got him. Two down, 2 on. Last Met standing is Wilmer Flores, just off the DL today after a back problem. Mark Grace, Jody Jackson standing by. D-backs live post-game show. You'll hear Torey Lovullo's post-game address to the media. Hear from some of the players inside the clubhouse. D-backs trying to maintain that 2.5 game edge over the Dodgers atop the National League West. LA leading the Giants 3-2. They're in the 9th inning now at Dodger Stadium. For the D-backs, this would be their 13th win in 17 games. Impressive, coming off an 8-19 May. De La Rosa 1 strike away. Going to be a big weekend here. D-backs and Mets. dbacks.com/tickets. Come on down this weekend. Don't forget Father's Day on Sunday. 1-2 on Wilmer Flores. Corbin and Matz here tomorrow night. Buchholz and Wheeler Sunday afternoon. Then it's a long road trip as we visit the Angels, the Pirates, and the Marlins. We're not back here again after Sunday until the 29th. 2-2. That's a base hit. This will deliver Reyes. Dyson has it in front of the pool. Plawecki in at third. Flores has an RBI double.
Another pitch up and out over the plate, missed even a little higher and farther away on the pitch before, and that time Flores gets up on his toes and tomahawks that one into right center field for an RBI knock.
And Torey Lovullo is going to have to go get De La Rosa. Boxberger on to try and get the final out. Back after this. So Torey Lovullo brings in his closer, Brad Boxberger, who got his 15th save of the year in the ball game last night. Getting a little too close for comfort.
Yeah, a little closer than Torey was hoping for here in the 9th inning, hoping for a nice clean inning from Jorge De La Rosa in his return from the disabled list. But Brad Boxberger is going to have to come on here and get this last out, facing the top of the Mets order.
That'll be Michael Conforto, who homered in the ball game last night. D-backs will put the shift on. 3 infielders on the first base side. De La Rosa responsible for Plawecki at third and Flores at second. Conforto 0 for 2. He has walked. He's been hit by a pitch. Fastball misses up. Lifted in the air, deep left center field. Peralta's got it, and the D-backs have the win. They hang on and beat the Mets 7-3. And the D-backs have now won 7 of their last 8 games. They are 11-3 in June.
Continue to swing the hot bats when they get pitches to hit. Guys are squaring them up, hitting line drives and home runs, and that's a lot of fun to watch right now.
Here's another thing that's a lot of fun to watch. D-backs Live, presented by CenturyLink, is ready to go. Gracie standing by with Jody.
Yeah, for sure. We're ready for this post-game show.
And we are fun to watch.
We are. That's why everyone's watching.
Thanks,
They're going to stay tuned for the post-game. You know, you look at the top of the order, 11 hits from the top 5 hitters, a couple of homers. But, you know, John Jay and Paul Goldschmidt each had 3 hits tonight.
Man, at the top of the order, that's where you get it going. If the guys at the top get on base, those big old ornery guys in the middle of the lineup, they drive you in. The Diamondbacks are doing everything well right now offensively.
And we'll talk about Zach Godley, who, you know, we weren't sure what to expect there early, but, boy, he finished strong.
Yeah, he was really struggling to find the command of his fastball. I mean, hitting batters, throwing wild pitches. I mean, Alex Avila was a backstop back there. He saved all kinds of runs.
We will discuss that as well with Bob Brenly. Kate Longworth's on the field with reaction, and in the clubhouse, we'll hear from Torey Lovullo. We've got your post-game show coming up as the Diamondbacks win yet another game here against the Mets. Stay tuned.